Up to 40% of the world's population will experience sciatica-like symptoms at some point in their life. Are you one of those people? Then you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Granimals Rehab and Wellness channel, where we solve pains, injuries and prevent them before they happen. In part 1 of this series, we discussed what sciatica is, how it happens, and how you can do easy self-diagnostic tests to understand if you have sciatica. In this part, we will discuss easy root cause analysis that you can do by yourself at home to see if your lifestyle is the root cause behind your sciatic nerve impingement, and finally create an exercise action plan to start doing to relieve yourself of those symptoms and start getting stronger. Let's go. Test number 1 is a hamstring bridge hold. Lift your toes off the ground, dig your heels into the ground and activate your hamstrings and glutes because of that. Now, using the activation of just these two muscles, start taking your butt off the ground. Make sure your glutes are squeezed. Take them to the end range. Make sure the glutes stay squeezed. Now try to hold this position for 30 to 45 seconds. If you start experiencing tension in the lower back, that means your glutes and hamstrings are not activating properly. And when these two muscles don't activate properly, you end up overstressing your lower back. Test number 2 is a straight leg raise hamstring tightness test. All you want to do is try to bring your leg, your hip and your upper body at 90 degrees, right? This is a great test to check for posterior chain tightness. If your calves, your hamstrings are stiff, you will not be able to straighten your leg. Most people, when they're doing this pattern, will either not be able to straighten the leg fully or start lifting their hip on the other side. So you should try to get to at least, if not 90, at least 80 degrees or within 10 to 15 degrees of 90 degree. And if this test is failed, if you're not able to straighten your leg or feel a stretch in your quadricep rather than your hamstring, that means your hamstrings are stiff. And that creates unnecessary tension by pulling your pelvis backwards and destabilizing your lumbar spine. Test number 3 is a 90-90 degree hip internal external rotation test. Most people have never tried movements where the hip rotates internally and externally, which is a very, very important function of the hip. All you want to do is create a 90-degree angle with your hip, your knee and your foot on both sides. Now, ideally, you should be able to maintain this angle throughout this movement. So you can start off this test by having your hands on the ground and just rotating from side to side. Eventually, you want to be able to do this without using your hands. If you are not able to rotate from one side to the other and maintain a 90 to 90 degree angle on both sides without touching your hands on the ground, that means your hips have tight internal and external rotation. And when the hips don't rotate, the lower back has to compensate. Another reason for your discs to take too much pressure and your sciatic nerve to get impinged. Test number 4 is dead bugs. Bring your hips into flexion. Make sure they are in line with your knees. From this point, lift your hands in the air parallel to your shoulders. What you want to do is ensure that your core is pushing into the ground and your pelvis is not rounded. Push your core into the ground. Now from here, start lowering one arm and the alternate leg down. Slowly bring them back to normal and then repeat on the other side. If you can't do at least 5 reps each of this movement without rounding your pelvis or losing the neutrality of your spine, then you have failed this test. And a failure in this test means that your core is not in control, and that will always create unnecessary pressure on the lower back again. Test number 5 is for thoracic spine rotation. What we want to do is elevate our leg like this. I wanted to use a foam roller, but I ended up using a fire extinguisher, but it works fine. So in this test, all you want to do is go from this starting position, rotate your upper body fully and try to touch your hand onto the other side without lifting your leg off this device, whatever it is. So from this position, we open up our body, keep rotating our spine and try to get to the other side. If you can accomplish this without lifting your leg, that means your thoracic spine is not tight, and try this on both sides. If you can't, that means your mid back is very stiff, and that also creates unnecessary pressure on the lower back because of overcompensation. If you failed one or several of these tests, that means your lifestyle and the weaknesses, tightnesses, imbalances and overcompensations it creates is the root cause behind your sciatic nerve impingement. Now we're going to do exercises just to solve for these weaknesses so that your sciatic nerve calms down and doesn't cause the symptoms it's been causing. Exercise number 1 is the simplest of the lot. It's called prone glute squeezes. So all we are trying to do here is activate your glutes and rebuild that mind muscle connection, which a lot of people, because of years of prolonged sitting and lack of movement, have lost. So you just lay down on your stomach and try to squeeze your glutes. Hold this movement for 5 to 10 seconds. Keep the contraction alive. Relax. Now we want to keep repeating this until the mind to muscle connection for the glute becomes amazing. Because when the glute starts firing properly, the lower back is offloaded by a lot, simply because the glutes are one of the major shock absorbers for the lower back and also the knees, don't forget. Exercise number 2 is glute bridges again. So dig your heels into the ground, activate your hamstrings and your glutes. Make sure that what you learned in exercise number 1, you remember, you know how to squeeze your glutes. Keep the glutes squeezed and start lifting your butt up. Do it slowly with control. Make sure you don't lose glute contraction. Go to the end range and slowly come down. Now, the stronger and the better recruitment of your glutes you can accomplish, the more you offload the lower back. That's obvious. But this movement is also extremely scalable. So if you get comfortable with this, you can load it with weight, right? The same movement with weight, or you can progress to a single leg glute bridge. Same concept, dig the heel into the ground, activate your hamstring glute and lift your glute up. Keep the glute squeezed throughout the movement. Squeeze till the end and slowly bring it down. Exercise number 3 is the standing hamstring curl. Just remember that the working leg should stay parallel to the standing leg. The knee should stay parallel. It should not be too far forward or backward. Your body, the torso should be upright. All you're doing is just curling the leg. I'm using a light ankle weight here. You can progress it according to your ability. But very important that you strengthen and improve the activation of your hamstring, because the hamstring plays a major part in absorbing forces not just for the lower back but also for the knees in daily function. So the stronger the hamstrings are, the lesser the load on the knees and the lower back. And the lower back also gets pulled down constantly if the hamstrings are tight, because the hamstrings go and attach to your pelvis. So start strengthening them. The next exercise is a supine lumbar rotation. What you're trying to do is bring your knees parallel to your hips, join your feet, have your hands spread out like this, and then just go from side, go all the way to side. You should feel a stretch in your entire lower back region, because you are now starting to gently reintroduce movement into a very stiff spine. This also helps alter or helps reverse the protective guarding, the muscles that are in spasm around your lower back. It helps resolve that, and that's when all of these muscles start firing and start supporting the spine better. Exercise number 5 is a side lying leg raise. I love this exercise because it really helps me isolate my outer hip muscle and my glute muscle, both of which are crucial to hip stability. If your hips are stable in daily life, while walking, while getting up and down the stairs, while squatting, that reduces pressure on the trunk and the lower back. The next exercise is for thoracic spine rotation. It's called a 4-point thread the needle. So 4-point means you're on all fours. You go all the way as far as you can to the other side and then come back and rotate the thoracic spine. This is an amazing exercise. If you've never done this and you try this today, you will feel things that you've never felt, because it rotates your entire mid, upper back and lower back, And what that does is when the thoracic spine starts rotating properly, the lower back doesn't have to overcompensate as much for a tight mid and upper back. So that's what you should focus on in this exercise, is go into the maximum range that you can when you're threading the needle. And when you're coming up, rotate as much as you can. The next exercise is a standing QL stretch. Cross over with one leg like this, and now focus on bending towards one side. When you're doing this, you should feel a stretch right here in the quadratus lumborum, which is a very important muscle around your lumbar spine and pelvis. Oftentimes, a lot of lower back issues can stem from tightness in this region. And tightness in this region is obviously a overcompensation pattern because of stiffnesses in your core and your hip region. So just by doing this exercise, you can open up the QL on both sides. I have trained a lot of people with lower back issues who had very stiff QL muscles that did not stretch at all. And as soon as the QL muscles started opening up, their symptoms started dissipating. So definitely try this one. The next exercise is a side lying quadricep and hip flexor stretch. So you lay down sideways in a straight line, grab a hold of your foot, and now try to pull your heel towards your butt. When you do that, you should feel a stretch in the entire rectus femoris and hip flexor region. Especially as you get closer and closer to your butt and the knee starts going more and more backwards, you should start feeling a stretch in this entire front of the hip region, which becomes very stiff because of prolonged sitting and can create a lot of instability in the lower back by pulling your pelvis forward. So definitely stretch out your hip flexors and you will see the benefit in your lower back symptoms. The next exercise is hip rotation. So we've already discussed that a lack of hip rotation can create overcompensation through the lower back, because as a principle, if your hips rotate well, your lower back gets involved less. Now, to start the hip rotation, 90-90s is still going to be the best stretch. Get to 90 degrees on both sides. 90 degrees means hip, knee, foot at 90 degrees on both sides. And in the beginning, you can start with your hands on the ground and just try to maintain the 90-90 position and move side to side. Rotate side to side, open up your hips in internal and external rotation. When you get good with this, do it without your hands. And then there are several progressions of this that we've defined in a lot of videos. But start doing these to improve your hip rotation and lessen the load on your lower back. Now we're going to move on to doing some sciatic nerve glides that will help mobilize and reduce sensitivity of the nerve by opening up its pathway, making it calmer basically. So the same way we tested it, we are going to mobilize it as well. So nerve glide number 1, bend, flex your hip, bend your knee to this angle, grab a hold of your thigh like this, try to straighten the knee as much as possible, extend it, and then just mobilize the ankle like this, take it into dorsi and plantar flexion. Also flex the neck a little bit, try to straighten the leg as much as you can without aggravating symptoms. We don't want to push too hard and make the symptoms worse. Whatever range is comfortable for you, hold it in that range and just plantar and dorsiflex the ankle like this. Nerve glide number 2, slouch, extend the leg, bring the ankle towards yourself and flex the neck. Now in this position, whatever range you are comfortable in without flaring up your symptoms, hold that range and just move the ankle into plantar and dorsiflexion like this. Again, remember, we want a mild pull at the best. We don't want to push the nerve too much and aggravate the symptoms. So find the range that you can do it pain-free in and then glide the nerve. If you're still watching, that means you are also bothered by sciatic nerve symptoms. In this video, most of the exercises we did were not to directly target the sciatic nerve, except the glides we did in the end. Most of them were addressing the root cause of your sciatic nerve impingement. That is tight hamstrings, weak glutes, stiff hips, an unstable and weak core, and poor spinal mobility. That is what you have to fix if you want to fix your sciatica, because it's not about fixing the symptoms, it's about fixing the system. So if you got value out of this video and felt that there was logic in everything we did, We solve sciatica-like symptoms on a daily basis. People that have been in lower back pain for years, have had sciatica-like symptoms for years, have had sciatica resolved within 8 to 12 weeks by just following the right root cause analysis and exercise progression after that. तो अगर आप भी उनमें से एक हैं, there is a consultation call link in the description below. Book your consult, which is a root cause analysis with my team, where they will also analyze and tell you why you have sciatica, what imbalances, what real life movement dysfunction is causing your sciatica, and create exercise progressions to solve it. Keep following the Granimal Rehab and Wellness channel to stay injury free, pain free, and be the best version of yourself.